From my previous video, I said that Jotaro was the main protagonist of the Stardust Crusaders. Now, some people like to jokingly say that, nah, you're wrong, buddy. Everyone knows that the real main character of Part 3 is none other than Pierre Polnareff, the Unyielding Crusader. Yes, if anyone remembers much of Part 3, a good portion of those memories are owned by Polnareff in the spotlight, whether it's him being goofy, badass, sad, anything. He takes up a great amount of screen time. Some people wonder why that is. Why does he have a lot of moments in comparison to the rest of the cast? Well, it's very simple. Again, Jotaro is the protagonist. Polnareff in this case is the deuteragonist, the character that has as much importance and influence relative to the protagonist. They get the same amount, if not sometimes more development than the main character themselves. There's Koichi in Part 4, dude literally narrates the story of Morio throughout the entire arc. Bruno for Part 5, he's the one that leads his own gang that Giorno joins, and if anything has a much bigger reason to face off against the boss, which he did. Gyro, I mean, look at the first two panels of Johnny and Gyro in comparison. Easy to mistake that this guy was going to be the lead, and I've even heard that some consider Yasuo within Part 8 to be within this role as well. I mean, she also narrates the beginning of JoJolion, so yeah. This applies to other series as well, of course, the rival character or someone who's usually more passionate about their goals and belief. Vegeta, Sasuke, Bakugo for rivals, Alphonse, Killua, Louis, Rukia, Mary, characters that push themselves a little more and can be a bit more dynamic in comparison. But enough of the English lesson, you get it, Polnareff is important to Part 3, because unlike the rest of the group, they all just follow the same mission of Dio's evil, and he's been fucking with us long enough. Polnareff joins and agrees with that and will help, but he's got his own thing first, which was finding and getting revenge on the bastard who murdered his sister. That's his first priority, and rightfully so. When he does confront him, or his stand I should say, that was one of the first battles where I legit didn't know how the characters were going to get out of this mess. Hanged Man is a pretty terrifying stand. As long as you're in a reflection of some sort, no matter how big or small, you can die. Quite frankly, this is the power that a Luzo should have had. However, even against a stand that can virtually move at the speed of light, I'm assuming, Polnareff beats him. Not just beats him, but kills him. He got what he wanted. But that didn't bring his sister back, nor with Abdal. That's why he later has his encounter with Judgment. That was the fight to make Polnareff really reflect on what's happened to him so far. He's lost his sister and was weirdly convinced that he got one of his friends killed. It was more of an emotional and psychological battle than the standard throwdowns. That's why Abdal tags in and helps out. He's willing to help out with anything. Isn't that right?
Yes, I am!
Once they hit the land of Egypt, he's still doing Polnareff things. Bathroom troubles, yeah. Takes 2 steps away from the group and is attacked, you know it, along with Iggy the dog from time to time. Then his final opponent emerges, Robert Matthew Von Winkle, aka Vanilla Ice. And honestly, from this point, you gotta give Polnareff the credit that he deserves for going up against Ice. And more specifically, what I mean is that Silver Chariot has to be one of the most underappreciated stands. When it comes to a lot of powerful stands, everyone's minds jumps to the ones where all the stand user has to do is blink or snap their fingers, and their opponent is defeated. Which is understandable, but when it comes to pure raw fighting capability, Silver Chariot isn't really brought up as much. The amount of speed and power behind that speed is something that can match up with Star Platinum, and if I were to dip my toe into some power scaling, I could probably say that Chariot could keep up with all the other Joestar stands. Crazy Diamond, Gold Experience, Stone Free, and more. And don't forget the few tricks that he's able to do. Take off his armor for more speed, which then allows him to create after images from moving at intense momentum. Shoot out the rapier, which might as well be like getting shot by a bullet if you're not prepared. All of that combined, his final enemy was, ironically, a heartless man whose outfit was plastered with hearts and no pants.
You expect me to believe that? Everybody likes Vanilla Ice.
Cream is a stand that can turn into a literal ball of nothingness, and anything it comes in contact with is fucking void. Actual void. And absolutely granted that he had the help of Iggy, Polnareff still beat him. And if we're being technical, he killed Vanilla Ice. Twice. Oh hey, that was a rhyme. I should do that all the time. Oh shit, I got more bars than a nigga named Lars. Anyways, Polnareff really doesn't stop there either. Man's lived with like 20% HP, fought the penultimate boss, and was still ready and wanting to square off against Dio. You gotta give the man some props. It's like Crocodile from One Piece. Doesn't matter who you were, Crocodile was willing to throw that gold hook at anyone. Anyone. Even though he really doesn't get to fully fight Dio, that doesn't mean Dio wasn't going to catch the end of the sword. And because of that, it gave Jotaro an opening to strike, which is more apparent in the Crusaders OVA. By the end of the 50-day journey, Polnareff definitely had the adventure of a lifetime, certainly a bizarre one, and pulled through, forming the utmost camaraderie. And for a lot of characters, especially side characters, they're just subjected to just one single part and that's it. Polnareff was one of the very few that wasn't a Joestar that makes a future comeback, and probably one of the most unexpected ones too. I for sure don't know what the audience mindset was back in the late 90s or for anyone reading JoJo years and decades prior, but there's no way that anyone could see Polnareff coming back. Correction, apparently Araki had him return as a last-minute idea from constant fan requests of what he was doing in his later years. So I guess it was expected in a way, but coming back like this was unexpected. In contrast to Jotaro chilling out with his doctorate in marine biology, Polnareff was dying again and made it out alive at least against Diavolo his first time. Second time, not so much, but seeing him willing to help the Passione gang and give them knowledge and history on the stand arrows was pretty cool to see. And it wasn't even out of a sense of revenge, but pretty much out of the benefit of the world. He looked up at God and saw behind the shadow and voice that it's nothing but a pure malevolent force that must be purged from this earth. He looked down at the devil and saw nothing but unbridled anger. Out of the two, the latter's worse. Because Dio is straight up evil and doesn't really hide it. Diavolo is a bit more unpredictable, which led into one of Polnareff's final thoughts: he must not get this arrow. That would create Silver Chariot Requiem.
What? Stop now! Who are you? Identify yourself immediately!
I kind of want to do a video on Requiem stands in general because they are just the pure definition of batshit insane and broken powers. Silver Chariot Requiem is ridiculous. Let's not forget the fact that this semi-automatic stand took 6 to 7 stand users who, besides Trish, were all experienced with theirs and they still barely won. This stand has so many powers that are just made to fuck with you. Put you to sleep. Switch your souls. Because of that, if you manage to get near Requiem, your own stand will attack you. And if you still somehow got past that feature and physically got the arrow that it's always carrying, Requiem will stop walking like it usually does and hunt you down. And don't bother trying to harm it, it can more or less regenerate. Oh, and mutation. That's radical, or cowabunga, whichever is appropriate for this. It took a minute for Diavolo to figure out the only way to really beat it was to destroy the tiny sun that follows you, do that once or twice, and you're golden. Win. But as absurd as those powers are, they kind of fit for what was going through Polnareff's mind at the last seconds of his life. Again, his final will was having any way to make sure that Diavolo did not get the arrow. And yeah, that's what every single ability of Requiem is made to do. It was always moving forward. Slowly, yes, but every step was worth it. It just never stopped. Polnareff and his stand were truly unyielding. So much so that death, afterlife, yeah, not for him. This turtle's pretty nice though, so it's pretty crazy to think that part 5 had a zombie, a ghost, and the devil himself. Huh. But yeah, that is pretty much the video on Polnareff. It's pretty, I don't want to say self-explanatory, but it just goes by the main events of his life, and I think Polnareff should get a little bit more praise than what he does. His stand is wicked cool. I love the design of it, especially within the Crusaders OVA where it has the tint of gold, because, you know, Apparently that is Polnareff's favorite color and everything, and he's just really cool and stuff. I love his fight with Jay Guile and his quick encounter with Shaka. I really like that as well. It's pretty cool, and just him going up against Dio and then Diavolo, man, that takes a lot of guts. I really like that. So yeah, that's pretty much the video on Polnareff. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. You know what to do with all the links that I provide and everything of the sort. Thank you for watching. That's greatly appreciated, of course. Have a great day, have a great night, and everything else, you know what to do. Bye.